Hello, my humble heretics. This video had to be re-scripted, so it's a few days late. But this one was a little weird to make because I had to research myself. So Steve McRae of the Non Sequitur Show allowed me on his channel for a live stream celebrating his 3 years of not smoking. And in the process, I met some very entertaining people. When it comes to smoking, I'm trying to quit myself, but the subject of this video that you are watching isn't about smoking. I did a re-scripting because of this. You know that I started watching you because of Dean Esme and his channel. Uh, but
Red pill.
Yes, Red Pill Religion.
Glitch did actually a documentary on them with me and
Oh, it's continuing. I guarantee it's continuing.
It was good. It was
There's
really
just
good.
so much there that people really don't know.
You got my position right, and I was really impressed. And by the fact that you even said, "I'm hoping I'm getting Steve's position right, and if he's not, let me know." And I would have let you know, but no, you did a very adequate job.
It's true. I could make a lot more of this content, but the question is, should I? What attracts me to channels like Red Pill Religion and the Non Sequitur Show is the air of conversation. I like conversation, no matter how weird, messed up, or heated they can get. Maybe it's the dungeon master in me, but strange things exist and we should always be curious because it's one of the ways that we learn. We are thinking minds in a sea of metaphorical and literal entropy. And curiosity can lead thinking minds to good ideas and bad ideas all the same. Yet it's the observer that must filter out the good from the bad, the weak ideas from the strong ones. YouTube is just an extension of that interaction and filtration system, being just another way to communicate. When I first started watching Red Pill Religion, the channel was still called Max Kolbe. What I wanted was a wide array of opinions to watch, and Red Pill Religion stood out to me because of their central blowhard, Dean Esme. The novelty of Dean's anger quickly wore off, however, when he invited the Godless Engineer on, in a stream linked below. It was the first time I had seen an atheist on the channel, but Dean was so dishonest, and Philosophy Tiger's questions were just so random and irrelevant that I came to understand that these guys aren't the Christian version of the Three Stooges, but just a bunch of dicks. I never really had a reason to agree with them on religion, history, or anything like that. The way I viewed the channel at the time was as a group of people who had come together to talk about religion and about what they were calling aggressive or militant atheists. So this video is going to be a little different. It is a criticism paired with a review and sort of a final statement. Because when I said this...
on them with me and...
it's continuing. I guarantee it's continuing. I think I was wrong. Maybe there really shouldn't be any more coming. Instead, I think I'm only going to point out when the stupid happens in the future. And it will happen in the future. Red Pill Religion is an experience to say the least. There really are some relatively nice people there. Mr. Brass, for example, is funny and he's a smart dude. Plus, we have similarly perverted senses of humor. John Baptiste has made great strides in improving his speaking and confidence level, something I am still working on myself. But then you have people like The White Engine, who whined like a child when Godless Engineer won Channel of the Year on the Non Sequitur's celebratory stream for the year. And then there's Dean himself. Dean is potentially a dangerous person. Not to his so-called atheist skeptic mafia, but to his audience. He has made public proclamations to try and get atheists fired from their jobs based on being a fan of another channel. This kind of thing could have serious consequences for someone who wants to take him seriously, up to and including potential legal battles over slander and wrongful termination. But I'm sure he will just file that under satire or something. He's made claims that atheists will burn down people's churches.
And our real goal is to teach other people how to do that, how to defend yourself, how to push back at these people because they're hateful and obnoxious and they're not going away, they're getting worse. And frankly, Christians, if you don't start getting in these bullies' faces, they're going to start burning your churches down and killing you. A lot of them openly talk about, re-educating your children.
and that they want to put the religious into camps and take away their children. Atheists are Marxists. Atheists have daddy issues. He has at times projected his own alcoholism on atheists, and I won't even get into the AIDS denialism or his beliefs in the New World Order, Illuminati, whatever. YouTubers and social figures who are against his worldview, including Ken Ham, are part of a paid globalist agenda. Yeah, he claims to have evidence that Ken Ham is a shill paid by the atheist mafia.
I'm actually pretty convinced that Ken Ham is funded by ideological atheists who just like what an idiot he makes Christians look like. And no, I don't think that's paranoid. I got real reason to think it's true.
Does this sound like it comes from a logical or even healthy mind? And like you can see on screen here, there are other lies as well, and weird assertions, such as Dean taking it upon himself to diagnose Shannon Q with sociopathy, and proceeding to double down with other interesting claims. His ideas are inept, and he never has any evidence to back up his claims. What he spouts lacks any observable research outside of book suggestions. He makes baseless assumptions about people, like I covered in my last video, with a complete misunderstanding of the age of King Crocoduck and his supposed outdated degree. As embarrassing as that was, this same ineptitude bleeds over to the sloppy research that he does on other people he chooses to talk about. Dean clings to a victim narrative while trying to turn what is said about him around on the people that accuse him. We saw this when he was called out on his own libel by Steve McRae, where he in turn started claiming that the Non Sequitur Show was being defamatory towards him. Another more predictable reaction is his deflection methods. He recycles an argument from authority, constantly claiming that he knows people, or has worked with a lot of people, which he uses as a reason to hand-wave claims. Dean also just simply calls people liars when his cognitive dissonance is threatened. Fingers in your ears, eyes closed, it's just playground apologetics. I could make dozens of videos on this. I could go on for a very long time, but a few days ago, when editing audio, I had a bit of a moment of clarity. There are better conversations out there, with better people having them. I've been interacting with a few members of the Non Sequitur Show, and their conversations have substance and natural curiosity. It isn't an echo chamber that relies on constantly repeating the same talking points, playing the victim, or devolving into the same vitriol. This confused me a tiny bit when I first started watching the Non Sequitur Show, because to a point, I was still looking at people like the Godless Engineer, like Shannon Q, with the Red Pill Religion channel's lens. I was skeptical even while reaching out to talk to one of their hosts and requesting talks with some of the people that had been guests on the channel. They are good, accepting people, for the most part, even though I do believe that owning a ukulele is objectively immoral and inhumane. You know who you are. The hosts of NonSec care deeply about the conversation over almost anything else. Yes, they interact with their guests, but they aren't exactly moderators, though one may assume the role on a stream at times. They seem to be part of that conversation, and they're also allowed to have their own opinions just as their guests do. Conversations are powerful, and they normally are the best ways to communicate ideas both brilliant and fringe. That is what I found with the Non Sequitur, a good, diverse group, not only in content, but in character. People putting out ideas on social platforms does not make a community. Though your channel may in and of itself become a community, Non Sequitur is a community of ideas. It is a channel that unites other channels of the known, the strange, and even the unconsidered. In this way, they have turned their own little pocket of the marketplace of ideas into an open buffet of ideas, and I intend to join the feast. Conversations, ideas, points of view, debate, the weird, the funny, and the mysterious are all things I love, and the Non Sequitur and their guests are a great starting point for exploring this weird, wonderful place we call the internet. So, viewers, if you have made it this far into this video, I invite you to join me. There's a lot of interesting stuff out there, a lot of interesting ideas. Let's explore it together. I do have one last thing to say. Or rather, I wanted to end the video, this documentary of sorts, on a special note. You will see that I did not use politics, religion, faith, or even arguments involving my atheist, agnostic Frankenstein of a personal philosophy in this video. I did that with a reason, and I thank the godless engineer, Kyle, and Steve on the Non Sequitur show put it in a way better than I can here. It was something that was said after John Baptiste was abandoned by the cowards that are Dean Esme and Andrew, literal mouth breeder, Stratolata Ding Dong.
Away really quick into the conversation. He got quote unquote tired, I'm sure is his excuse. But the lies that he spreads on his blog, they are going to catch up to him, and one day he's gonna libel the wrong person, and that right person is gonna take him to task in some way, and he won't like the outcome. And to anybody in the Red Pill Religion crew that agrees with him about me and my bigotry, or thinks it's disgusting that I frown upon Dean and his treatment of his kids, well, there's nothing that can save you at all from the Red Pill whole debacle thing. I mean, I could do my best to try to talk sense into you, but you're going to be suckling on the dick of Dean Esme for a while. And, I think that most people that are in the Red Pill Religion group wouldn't be so like they are if they weren't in it. I feel that Dean is a negative force. I feel that Dean's attitude allows them to feel comfortable in such lewd and crude language that they lobby against their opponents. Whenever I made my video, sure, I made jokes, but I didn't say the kind of shit that they say behind closed doors. They won't say that kind of shit like out in the open, although I don't know, maybe Kyle's archive here would prove me otherwise, and I'm fine with being proven otherwise. But that entire gang is just a deplorable set of people, and if there are good people in it, you need to get out, because you need to see Dean for the horrible person that he is.
Agreed.
Yep, that's well said. It's a scary thing that you can be. It's almost like that analogy with a frog in boiling water. If you throw a frog in boiling water straight off the bat, it'll jump right out. But if you put a frog in the pot of water and just let the heat slowly cook around him, he'll get boiled alive. And I think that's the same thing that happens in Red Pill Religion. You get sort of desensitized to the rage and the person that's calling everyone else out around him for being a bigot, or everyone else around him for being deplorable, or whatever else that he has to say disparagingly. But he's the one that's doing it. He is the one that is over and over and over and over again slandering and lying and offending, and just these were a sample. I picked out 18 of 505 that this individual went back through and sent to me. 505 of these tweets. Some of them I couldn't even read on this show, just for fear of the video getting taken down. So think about who you want to follow. And the thing that you need to pay attention to is that if you are sincere in your beliefs, if you are sincere that you follow Christ or that you believe in God and you want to adhere to his teachings, then you have to understand that the first thing that you're called to do is to try to lead people to Christ, right? I hear that's the one thing that you're supposed to do. So if you are being sincere about that, do you think honestly that people are going to look to Dean Esme and say, that is who I want to be, that is what a Christian is, that's the example that I need to follow? Because if not, then you need to really reconsider why you're in it. Is it just so that you can be a troll and cling on to that Christian title, or is it really about saving souls? Because if it's really about saving souls and you're following Dean Esme, I have some bullshit to call out on.
Yeah,
Steve?
I mean, Dean has admitted he does trolling. He has admitted that and he's wrong on this. This is not hyperbole. This is actual libel. He says this stuff should be taken seriously, but he puts it out there as it is a true narrative, and then tries to cover it up that way. That is not a Christian thing to do. And I agree with Kyle wholeheartedly. If your desire is to bring souls to Christ, Dean is the antithesis of that. He literally has done more damage to Christianity than any atheist that I could possibly ever point to, probably. And I think that most people, when they watch this video, will agree with that. And I'm very much looking forward to the comments, because this video will be watched, I guarantee. And matter of fact, if this is our most popular video, I'll be ecstatic, because I think this is far more important than the flat Earth and the young Earth creationists, the things that we do.
My interview with the Godless Engineer will be next. Glitch out.